The ongoing legal case involving music producer and entrepreneur Sean "Diddy" Combs has attracted significant public and media attention. The trial includes testimonies, allegations, and documents detailing disturbing accusations that span years. Among the most serious claims are those concerning abuse, manipulation, and exploitation within the entertainment industry. One of the central figures in the proceedings is the singer and model Cassie, who has accused Combs of orchestrating and recording inappropriate private events, allegedly referred to as freak-offs, some of which reportedly lasted for extended periods. These events are claimed to have involved multiple individuals and were described in detail during court proceedings. While these accusations remain part of a broader legal investigation, they have contributed to a wider conversation about abuse of power within the music industry. Testimonies from former industry professionals have shed light on the psychological and emotional toll such environments may have on young artists. Several individuals, reflecting on their past experiences, have spoken about feeling lost, unsupported, and pressured during their early years in the industry. These sentiments are particularly relevant in the case of Justin Bieber, who entered the music scene at a very young age and was mentored by high-profile figures including Usher and Scooter Braun. An older video clip resurfaced during the case, showing a young Bieber interacting with Combs. In it, Combs refers to spending extended time with the teenage artist. The footage has reignited questions from the public about the nature of mentorship in entertainment and the responsibility of adults in positions of influence. The courtroom atmosphere during the second day of the trial was notably tense. Observers reported that Combs appeared visibly affected, frequently checking his phone before the session began. Security was noticeably increased, with additional personnel stationed around the defendant. Reports suggest that Combs became agitated after seeing a public social media post by Justin Bieber expressing support for Cassie. This alleged moment reportedly led to a disruption in court proceedings, requiring intervention by security personnel. Cassie, when entering the courtroom, was accompanied by a group of close friends, presenting a stark contrast to Combs, who was surrounded by his legal team and private security. Her presence was described as composed and solemn. Court officials noted irregular behavior from both parties. At one point, Combs' legal counsel was seen attempting to calm him, while prosecutors appeared to be in possession of critical new information that may influence the direction of the case. Observers also noted the judge's unusually cautious demeanor that day, suggesting awareness of rising tensions. The broader legal investigation has led to renewed scrutiny of the entertainment industry's culture, particularly regarding the treatment of minors, power dynamics, and long-standing patterns of alleged misconduct. While no verdict has yet been reached, the proceedings have prompted conversations about accountability, the psychological impact on young artists, and the mechanisms in place, or lack thereof, to protect them. Former industry insiders have emphasized the psychological vulnerability of young performers. Some have described environments where praise was quickly withdrawn and loyalty was conditional. The pressure to succeed, combined with constant public exposure and a lack of guidance, has been cited as a contributing factor to emotional distress and personal struggles experienced later in life. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, no final determination of guilt has been made, and Sean Combs, like all individuals under investigation, is presumed innocent unless proven otherwise. The legal process continues to unfold, and further details are expected to emerge in future court sessions. This case has become part of a growing movement to address misconduct and power abuse in the entertainment industry. It underscores the need for stronger protections for young talent, greater transparency, and accountability for those in positions of authority. By the way, Combs' co-defendant in a civil action accuses him and another A-lister of, "This individual is again attacking the case attorney, demanding punishment for allegedly not performing his duty." Jay-Z, as Sean Carter, is again criticizing attorney Tony Busby, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings contain substantial. We've discussed this before, but a Jane Doe filed a civil case against Sean Combs and another celebrity for raping her at a residence after the 2000 Video Music Awards. While everyone watched the court drama, something big happened online. Justin Bieber's social media bomb was unexpected. Bieber's statement supporting Cassie during the trial sent shockwaves across the music business and the courtroom. Due of Bieber and Diddy's history, it hit hard. Remember the youthful Bieber at Diddy's parties videos? Justin considered Diddy his mentor and big brother. He boasted about shaping Bieber's career. This public declaration felt like the worst betrayal in history. Not a generic sending love and support message either, Bieber clarified. He wrote of witnessing Diddy's treatment of Cassie at industry gatherings. He said Diddy grabbed Cassie's arm too hard at a 2015 after-party. He said Diddy interrupted Cassie and spoke for her in interviews. Not rumors, first-hand observations. The post went viral during the first court recess. Groups of courthouse hallway residents showed each other their phones. One court officer reminded everyone to switch off their smartphones before re-entering. Attorneys reviewed screenshots printed by legal assistants. The corridor chatter confused some jurors, who sensed a momentous event. This beautiful antique photo speaks volumes in the article. The photo shows Bieber and Cassie smiling at a music event years ago. However, Cassie's eyes showed something. Bieber's caption was that he'd always admired Cassie's strength and regretted not speaking up sooner. Diddy's timing was terrible. That post reached Bieber's 270 million followers in minutes. Headlines appeared on news sites. This went beyond celebrity gossip. This enormous star with credibility took a clear stance during an active trial. Court reporters went nuts. One woman fled the courtroom to phone her editor. She feverishly typed on her laptop. A big network reporter asked, "Did you see it?" across the aisle to his colleague. This altered public perception of this case, as everyone knew. One bailiff had to tell individuals to stop whispering. People started showing each other their phones, hardly believing what they saw. Some looked directly at Diddy to see if he knew. Others watched Cassie, who remained calm despite hearing the noise. The phrasing of Bieber's remark made it impactful. He called Cassie brave and truthful and said that certain behaviors I witnessed years ago troubled me deeply, but I didn't understand the pattern they represented. He was disappointed in myself for not understanding the control dynamics that are now clear. The post was seen by Diddy's lawyer. He quickly sought damage management, obstructing Diddy's view of another lawyer's phone and whispering to take all gadgets from the table. Someone had shown Diddy the screen. Everyone nearby noticed his face change as his eyes enlarged. It was too late. Teenager signed by Usher to a label run by Scooter Braun and Usher. His mentor was Usher. He considers Usher his mentor. Justin Bieber continues the purging. His initial mentor has moved away. This is a significant story, so we should discuss it and not minimize it. Not celebrity drama. The fall of Hollywood Babylon is happening now. He spoke to Zane Lowe on Apple Music in 2020 about Billie Eilish, another rising star. He said he wanted to protect Eilish because she was another new talent breaking into the industry. He suddenly grew emotional. Listen, I'm protective of her. It was challenging for me to be young and in the profession without direction. Everyone loves me and then turns their back on me. Yeah, it's challenging because I want her to know I'm reliable. I won't force myself into a relationship with her, right? I just let her do her thing. I'll be there for her if she needs me. But people take those times for granted, so protect them. That clip gets me emotional because he says so much without saying anything. Protect Billie Eilish from what? Diddy's face changed like a switch when he saw Bieber's post. First, he looked shocked, with his eyes wide and mouth open. Then, his eyebrows pulled together as the betrayal hit him. The scary part was watching that turn into rage, with his nostrils flared and his jaw clenched so tight you could hear his teeth grinding. A woman 3 rows back told reporters that Diddy's hands started shaking uncontrollably. He tried to grab some papers his lawyer gave him, but they slipped through his fingers and scattered on the floor. That's when everyone started staring. The first warning sign was when Diddy stood up. I need to stretch. Stand up. It was abrupt and aggressive. The bailiff, who'd been watching him all morning, immediately took a step forward. You could tell this wasn't the bailiff's first time with a courtroom loser. Diddy then said something the front rows could hear. After everything I did for that kid, loyalty means nothing anymore. Then something about consequences prompted his lawyer to grasp his elbow and pull him back into his seat. The lawyer shouted something urgent in his ear, but Diddy only shook his head. His breathing became heavy and hard, like he'd run upstairs. The court paintings of Diddy's bulging pupils, clenched jaw, and neck veins are unnerving. One sketch artist remarked she'd never sketched somebody that serious in 12 years of covering trials. The lead prosecutor made this subtle hand signal to her assistant, who immediately got up and left the side door. Later, we learned she was telling their team to prepare a witness who could directly address Bieber's post. Two security guards moved closer to Diddy's table without making it obvious, and one unclipped something on his belt to make sure he could get it fast if needed. Diddy's whole demeanor changed. He'd been Mr. Cool all day and early that morning, sitting up straight, taking notes, and nodding confidently. Now he fidgeted, ran his hand over his face, and loosened his tie like it was choking him. Then Diddy slapped his fist on the table, knocking over a water glass that smashed on the floor. As everybody jumped, he murmured something that court reporters heard. "He won't work in this town again. Neither will." The court wouldn't let his lawyer wrap an arm around Diddy's shoulders to hold him in his seat. She banged her gavel and called for an immediate 15-minute recess. But that only gave Diddy more time to stew in his rage. As his legal team clustered around him, their expressions displaying concern, Diddy didn't need more time to get even more furious. Cassie walked to the witness stand with her shoulders back and head high, staring at the jury members instead of the floor like she did on day one. She didn't try to avoid Diddy's eyes either. She just acted like he wasn't special enough to worry about. The prosecution showed text messages from Diddy to Cassie that made the courtroom gasp. In one exchange from 2016, Diddy sent 17 messages in a row asking why she hadn't answered her phone. Another showed him asking for her exact location, down to her hotel room. "I need to know where you are every minute," a text said. "That's the deal if you want to keep your career." When it was quiet, you could hear the ceiling fans. When Cassie recounted how Diddy controlled her business contacts, he included male artists. "I wasn't allowed to speak with anyone unless he was present," she said. Justin Bieber was. "He advised me not to question him when I asked why. When I did, nevertheless, he grabbed my arm at the after party and said I'd regret it." Cassie never shook as she described being isolated, monitored, and controlled, matching Bieber's online statement about monitoring, public control, and private threats. Each detail she provided backed up his statement, making it seem like they had coordinated stories, even though Cassie testified she hadn't spoken to Bieber in years. The prosecutor inquired why she hadn't come forward sooner, and her response was harsh. "He said no one would believe me. He claimed to regulate industrial employment. I've seen him kill careers with calls." One woman cried, and an older man wrote and underlined something 3 times. The bombshell came when prosecutors released 2018 hotel surveillance footage of Cassie trying to talk to a male artist in a lobby. Diddy entered, wrapped his arm around her, and led her away, matching her description. Diddy leaned over to his lawyer, whispering frantically and pointing at the screen. Cassie detailed specific events, dates, locations, and who was present. March 8, 2017, at the Standard Hotel in New York. June 22, 2017, at his Miami house. September 12, 2018, backstage at the VMAs. Diddy's lawyer rapidly flicked over his papers, seeming worried each time she stated a date. Other witnesses were afraid to come up, but contacted her lawyers after seeing Bieber's backing. "My phone hasn't stopped with messages from people saying they're ready to tell what they saw," said. Diddy lost control after Cassie testified that after speaking to Bieber at an industry gathering, Diddy grabbed her aside and said, "Even Justin knows what happens to people who cross me." With Bieber publicly supporting her, this threat became dire. Diddy fell apart as Cassie testified. Each new detail tied to Bieber's confession made him fidget, speak to his lawyer, and look more nervous. The confident music tycoon was dissolving before everyone's eyes. Busby filed an amended complaint weeks after the initial filing, naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. I've talked to lawyers about this before, and there's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence themselves. You don't have to always go to the other office. Sean Combs' lawyers asserted that federal criminal procedure applies to government-held computer data. Judge Subramanian refused the defense's attempt to amend the protective order without prejudice, so the issue may be reconsidered. While the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for the defendant to consider that would permit the defense to view the videos, access the information they're looking for, and even allow them to manipulate the video. Being young and in the industry without direction was hard. Everyone loves me and then turns their back on me. I'll be there for her if she needs me, but sure, protecting such times because people take them for granted. I just want to safeguard her, not to put her through anything. Yeah, if she needs me, I'm just a call away. Do you realize how important the story is? Every time I talk to someone who's had this unique experience, I'm looking for some truth that can help. I applaud you for asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, because it's revealing. I want people to read my story and hopefully make a difference." Just when everyone thought things couldn't get worse, the prosecutor walked to the center of the courtroom with a folder. "Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence that directly contradicts Mr. Combs' claim that Miss Ventura fabricated these allegations recently." She connected her tablet to the courtroom display system and showed 2017 text messages between Justin Bieber and Cassie. The prosecution picked one exchange that made jurors lean forward. Cassie wrote, "I don't know what to do anymore. He watches everything. If I talk to anyone, he'll make sure I never work again." Bieber said, "Cass, this isn't normal. His actions are wrong. Talk to someone who can help." Diddy sprang up from his chair when those texts appeared, making everyone jump. His face was red and his eyes bulged. The composed music mogul was gone. His attorney grabbed his elbow to pull him down. "Sean, don't do this," he whispered across the front rows. But Diddy ignored him and shoved his lawyer's hand away, causing him to stumble. "These are lies," Diddy yelled, pointing at Cassie. "You know that didn't happen. I did everything for you. Where's your loyalty?" He grew louder with each statement. "You're lying, both of you." The judge struck her gavel 3 times instantly. "Mr. Combs, sit down or I'll remove you." She sliced the chaos with her words. Diddy didn't stop. 2 security officers rushed to the defense table, one between Diddy and Cassie and the other from behind. Court reporters typed furiously, capturing every word of this unplanned meltdown. The jury was in shock. An older woman in the back row covered her mouth with her hand. "Your Honor, we need a break," Diddy's lawyer yelled to restore control. Diddy was already pointing at the messages on the evidence screen. "These are phony. They faked those messages." He was gesticulating wildly, his voice echoing off the walls. "Set up, but Justin never said that." These 5-year-old messages destroyed Diddy's assertion that Cassie made up allegations for money or fame. She had been telling Bieber about the same behavior patterns for years before launching a lawsuit. The judge smashed her gavel again. "Immediately dismiss the jury," she ordered the bailiff. The 12 men and women left, but most stared at Diddy, who was still ranting. 2 security officers flanked him. "Sir, you need to calm down now," one stated firmly, touching Diddy's shoulder. The damage was done. Diddy's decades-long controlled image had shattered in front of everyone. As the security officers stood guard at his sides, the world saw a very different side of the music mogul, one that made Cassie's allegations seem more credible. After the jury left, Judge Marlowe stood behind the bench, pointed at Diddy, and delivered the smackdown of the century. "Mr. Combs, this is court, not a studio." Her voice pierced across the room like a knife. "One more outburst like that will make me contemptuous. You'll spend the rest of this trial in jail, appearing only when required." The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation before the next day's proceedings and imposed new security protocols. 2 officers would always be within arm's reach of Diddy. His lawyers couldn't speak to him without an officer. His phone privileges were revoked. The head attorney kept shaking his head, while another made frantic calls and a third desperately wrote notes, occasionally looking up at Diddy with a face that screamed, "We're in trouble." Their body language told the story. They knew their case had just taken a huge hit. The jury's reactions were unmistakable. A middle-aged woman in the front row moved her chair away from the defense table. An older man who had been taking detailed notes sat with his arms crossed, pen untouched. Most telling was juror number 8, a young professional who had smiled at Diddy on day 1, but now wouldn't look at him. Despite their flawless poker faces, the prosecution team seemed pleased. The lead prosecutor sorted her documents quietly, periodically glancing at Diddy with satisfaction. Her subordinate even had to hide a smile behind her palm. 2 officers stood behind Diddy's chair, not even appearing to be casual, while another stood at the courtroom door, hand on his belt. Everyone knew they wouldn't risk Diddy's actions. A former federal prosecutor whispered, "He just lost right there." Law professors writing frantically in their notebooks watched the case. One defense attorney from another high-profile case shook his head and muttered, "Amateur hour." Cassie sat with perfect posture, hands folded in her lap, expression neutral, and didn't react to Diddy's outburst. The contrast between her complete control and his total lack of it was striking. Diddy had strutted in like he owned the place, designer suit, crisp smile, confident, But now, he shuffled out with his tie loosened, surrounded by lawyers who looked like they'd aged 10 years in one afternoon. He avoided the reporters in the hallway by keeping his eyes on the floor. The most telling moment was when Diddy's main lawyer put his hand on his client's back to assist him out. He shrugged again, but this time it was from despair. In court, Cassie remained calm and strong while Diddy broke down. When Justin Bieber supported her, their true personalities came out. Let's face it, the jury saw Diddy lose control and threaten people in court, which definitely determined this case. Who else will speak up? Justin Bieber broke the unspoken celebrity rule of defending each other, opening the way for additional stars to attack Diddy.